Hey y'all, and welcome to Kelly's Cooking on the Cheap. And tonight is pretty much I'm finishing up the meat out of the freezer, finally. And I wanted to show off my good finds. We're doing tacos, so I pulled out my chorizo sausage. I got marked down at Meijer to $1.40. Yeah, I only paid $1.40, and then some stew meat I found at Walmart. It was a small amount, so I was like, we're just going to combine it for mixed meat, which I've got my pan heating, so I'll add it here in a minute. I got water heating to boil. I'm going to do the I'm going to butcher Muhammad yellow rice. We did regular white rice for lunch today, so I'm sure my guys will probably, especially my boy, say, we already had rice, so I'm trying to do a little different. And I did a half a bag of pinto beans at lunch today. I put it in on high with some water and bouillon powder. So I've started mushing it up. So I'm going to add, oh, and I did add jalapenos to it that I had. Just to give a little kick, I'm going to add some mozzarella cheese to it just to kind of get it a little creamy here in a little bit. But I wanted to get this started. Rice is about to go to add the rice, but I'm going to go ahead and add in the meat. I had bought the taco shells a while back at Kroger, ended up not using them. So, and then I've got some tortillas I pulled out from the freezer for my boy. I also have some head of lettuce, a little bit left over from having BLTs over the weekend. So I'm just going to shred that up for lettuce on top. And I might tear into this tomato that we got at the farmer's market as well. Let me get this in here. I pulled it out today, so it's not quite thawed yet. So I'm going to get this in and then go wash my hands and get the rice going. So we'll be back here momentarily, maybe. There we go. All right, so I'll be right back and get going with some of the rest of it. All right, the meat is getting close to being done. The beef stew meat needs to cook a couple more minutes at least. Rice, I've got about 6 more minutes left for it to cook. I'm going to go ahead and add some cheese to the refried beans. Normally, if I knew this ahead of time, I would have soaked the beans overnight, or at least some this morning. But I worked this morning, took half the day off, because they allow us to do some flex time at work. So I was able to do that. So it worked out. I just threw this on, like I said, at lunch, put it on high, and it cooked down to how I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Let me get this out first. And some cheese, and this is from a big package of cheese that I had found marked down at Kroger. It's like a 4-cup, I think, 2-pound package of mozzarella cheese for like $3.44. I had gotten it because we were going to do homemade pizza, so I threw the rest between this bag and one other bag. That way, if we do homemade pizza again, I can just pull out the smaller package. So that worked out. I liked it. Yep. All right, let me get this stirred in. All right, I'm going to let it get melted down, and I'll probably mush it up a little bit more. Tomorrow's my payday, and so I've been working on the meat. I still have to add the taco seasoning, and I use I usually do the homemade seasoning mix. I usually don't put salt. If I do, it's very little. I just don't like a lot of salt. Not that I don't like salt, because I like salt on my fries or my baked potato. But everything else I try to limit. So I'm just going to take my paper towel. Luckily it's stew meat and the sausage, so it's not very fatty like hamburger would be. And I know we're going to have leftovers, so it might be a lunch thing towards the end of the week, with it being 4th of July Saturday. Hubby and I are off Friday as well. And my boys, they're off at football practice this week, so he'll start back that next week. Alright, so let me go put this up and check on up. The rice is done. I did add some water and the taco seasoning to the meat. Alright, so that looks good. Got my boy in here ready to eat. Are you glad to be back? He says no. I think the only thing he was missing from church camp while he was gone was his bed. Right? Yeah, he's shaking his head. I remember my dad always saying, I can always hear your head rattle, so. Alright, so I'm going to load my taco up. I tried to see if I had any packets or anything of taco sauce from like Taco Bell. We're out. I know. So this again is the mix between chorizo and stew meat. For double the protein. Alright. I'm going to go ahead. Load up some rice. Of course I didn't stir good enough for the cheese, so let me see if I can stir it up a little bit better. So there's my homemade beans. Tastes pretty good. Alright, so I had to free up some space, so cut out on me. So the rice is done. Here's my rice. The beans are looking good. So let me add some of the toppings. I was out of shredded cheese, so I had to cut up some sliced cheese, some onion, and here we go. And I just got to try the taco. If you hear noise in the back, I got my boy on the mission of getting our drinks ready. I would say it's good with meat. So anytime you have meat, no matter what kind it is, it'll always turn out good in a taco. So I hope you enjoy and have a good one.